Welcome back to Wisdom Unveiled, where we try to translate these really profound philosophical conversations from some of Iran's greatest minds.
Absolutely.
A quick reminder, this is a translation of conversations with Iranian philosophers. So, some details might not be fully conveyed. We apologize for any discrepancies.
Of course.
You've sent us a treasure trove of recordings.
Yeah.
40 episodes worth of Dr. Dinani and Dr. Lariani discussing Rumi. And today we're on episode 21 of our deep dive into his work.
It's amazing.
Things are getting really, really interesting.
And you know what's so fascinating to me here is how Rumi, a master of language, right, constantly wrestled with its limitations.
Yeah.
He was pushing the boundary.
I find that so relatable.
Really?
I mean, I'm always struggling to find the right words to express what I mean.
And imagine the challenge for Rumi trying to communicate these profound mystical experiences. He even said he needed a whole new language.
Wow. Yeah. So I love that. Even Rumi found words limiting. I feel like that's a good sign that you're onto something profound.
Exactly. It's as a language is only a starting point, a finger pointing to the moon, as they say.
Right. And what about his pen name, Rumi, meaning silence?
Oh, yeah.
What's the significance there?
This is where it gets really interesting. It's not just the name. At the end of the 6th book of the Masnavi, Rumi ends with abrupt silence.
Wow.
Dr. Lariani suggests this represents knowing too much, where words simply can't do it justice anymore.
So when you have an incredible experience, you just can't describe it.
Precisely. It's that feeling of awe and wonder that transcends language. Think of trying to explain the taste of chocolate to someone who's never had it,
Yeah.
They'll never truly know until they experience it firsthand.
So Rumi's silence is like that taste of chocolate,
Yeah,
the point where words fail and direct experience takes over.
exactly.
But if he can't fully communicate these ideas with words, how are we supposed to grasp what he's getting at?
That's the journey, isn't it? It's about engaging not just our intellects, but also our intuition, empathy, even a touch of what Rumi calls divine madness.
Divine madness. Okay, now that sounds a little intimidating.
Haha! Think of it as stepping outside your usual way of thinking. It's about embracing bewilderment, being open to the mystery of existence, letting go of the need to have all the answers.
Okay, so it's more about feeling it than analyzing it.
Exactly. Remember, Rumi wasn't just a poet and scholar, he was a Sufi mystic. His work is meant to be experienced, not just understood intellectually.
This reminds me of Dr. Dinani's distinction between the everyday events of life, the waves, as he calls them, and the deeper reality, the ocean beneath.
Beautiful analogy, isn't it? We're so caught up in those waves, work relationships, all the busyness of life, that we forget about the vast ocean of love and interconnectedness that lies beneath it all.
Right, so Rumi wants us to dive into that ocean, to connect with that deeper reality. But how do we do that? How do we move beyond the surface level of things?
It's about recognizing that everything we perceive as separate is ultimately connected. It's about surrendering to that unity, letting go of the ego's need to define and control. Dr. Dinani points to the power of the word La, meaning there is no God but God, a central concept in Sufism.
Okay, I see. So by acknowledging this oneness, we can begin to experience that interconnectedness.
Exactly. Rumi describes La as a sword that cuts through illusions and attachments, clearing the way for a direct experience of the divine.
Okay, that sword image is really resonating with me. It's like we need to cut away those old limiting beliefs and habits that prevent us from experiencing true love and unity.
Precisely. It's about recognizing those things that keep us separate. The ego's attachments, the false beliefs that cloud our perception.
So it's not about being afraid of this love, but surrendering to it, allowing it to transform us.
Yes. Rumi challenges us to embrace that surrender, to step outside our comfort zones and into the unknown.
But that can feel so scary to let go of control like that.
Of course, it's a process, a journey. But Rumi assures us that this fire is refining, not destructive. It burns away what is no longer serving us, what keeps us from experiencing true connection. And in the process, it helps us cultivate those extra senses. He talks about intuition, empathy, a deep appreciation for beauty, a sense of wonder, and the ability to see the divine in everything.
Extra senses. You mean beyond the 5 senses we already have? I'm intrigued. But I also have so many questions.
Think of them as ways of perceiving that go beyond the purely rational. They allow us to tune into the whispers of the heart, the language of intuition and deep knowing that transcends the limitations of words.
It makes me think about how Rumi often talks about the Prophet Muhammad as the embodiment of love and surrender. Dr. Dinani even mentions that powerful phrase from the Quran, "If not for you, I would not have created the heavens."
Yes, this is where it gets really interesting. Rumi saw Muhammad as the perfect model for this kind of love. pure, selfless, and completely surrendered to the divine will.
So it's not just about admiring Muhammad from afar, but actually trying to embody those qualities of love and surrender in our own lives.
Yes.
But how do we even begin to do that?
Dr. Dinani offers a beautiful metaphor, polishing the mirror of the heart.
Oh, I love that image. It's so vivid. But what does it mean practically? How do we polish that mirror?
It's about purifying our intentions, letting go of negativity, and making space for compassion, kindness, and generosity. It's a continuous process of inner work through practices like meditation, prayer, or simply being more present in our interactions with others.
So it's not about grand gestures,
Yeah.
but rather those small, consistent actions that cultivate love and compassion.
Exactly. Each act of kindness, each moment of genuine connection is like polishing that mirror, allowing it to reflect the divine light more clearly.
This makes me think about my own heart, my own mirror. What are the smudges I need to polish away to reflect love more clearly? Maybe it's judging others, holding on to grudges.
It's a journey of self-discovery and transformation, and Rumi's work is a beautiful guide. It's a path that leads us closer to that boundless ocean of love he describes so beautifully.
This is giving me so much to reflect on. And I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of Rumi's wisdom.
He's a bottomless well of inspiration, isn't he? There's always another layer to uncover.
Before we dive into those next layers, let's pause here and give you, our listeners, a chance to catch your breath and reflect.
Yes, take a moment to let all of this sink in. What's resonating with you? What questions are bubbling up? And what would it look like to embrace even a sliver of Rumi's radical love in your own life?
We'll continue this exploration in a bit. Until then, keep those heart mirrors polished. You know, one of the things that always draws me to Rumi is his use of metaphors. Like, he had such a gift for taking these complex spiritual ideas and making them relatable, through these really vivid images.
Absolutely. His metaphors offer us a way to grasp those truths that lie beyond the reach of language.
And speaking of metaphors, can we talk about the reed flute? It's such a central image in Rumi's work. And it always makes me think about that feeling of longing, that yearning for something more.
It's such a powerful metaphor, isn't it? The reed flute separated from its source, longing to return. Rumi compares it to the human soul, separated from the divine, yearning for unity.
It's like we're all these little flutes walking around trying to play our own soul's music.
Yeah.
But sometimes it feels like we've forgotten the tune, or we're playing out of key.
And that's where the journey of love and surrender comes in, right? It's about remembering that tune, reconnecting with that source.
So how do we do that? How do we play our own soul's music, so to speak?
Rumi reminds us that love is the driving force of the universe, the energy that connects everything and draws us back to that unity. It's about surrendering to that love, letting go of the ego's resistance and allowing ourselves to be swept away by the current.
That makes me think of how Rumi talks about both the joys and the sorrows of love. It's not all sunshine and roses, is it?
Definitely not. Rumi doesn't shy away from the reality of suffering. In fact, he embraces it.
Embrace suffering. How can anyone embrace suffering?
Remember, Rumi saw those difficult experiences, those cracks in our hearts as entry points for light and deeper compassion. As he famously said, the wound is the place where the light enters you.
The wound is the place where the light enters you. For a long time I misunderstood that quote. I thought he was saying to just accept pain passively. But now I'm seeing it differently.
How so?
It's not about wallowing in our pain or denying it. It's about recognizing that those difficult experiences, those wounds, can actually make us more open, more receptive to love and compassion.
Precisely. It's in those moments of brokenness, when our defenses are down, that we're most open to transformation. It's through those cracks that the light of love can shine in and illuminate our true nature.
So it's not about avoiding pain or pretending it doesn't exist, but rather seeing it as an opportunity for growth and deeper understanding.
Exactly. It's about surrendering to the full spectrum of human experience, the joys and the sorrows, the light and the darkness, and finding the love that permeates it all.
That makes me think about how Dr. Dinani emphasized the importance of not getting stuck in any one state, whether it's joy or sorrow. We talked earlier about how clinging to even positive states can be limiting.
It's true. Think of it this way. Imagine you're holding a beautiful seashell in your hand. You can appreciate its beauty, its intricate details, but if you cling to it too tightly, you can't experience anything else. You have to be willing to open your hand, to let go, in order to receive something new.
That's a great analogy. So it's about staying open fluid, allowing ourselves to move through all these different states without getting attached to any of them.
Yes, it's about embracing the dynamism of life, the constant ebb and flow of experience. Just like the ocean, our hearts are meant to be vast and ever-changing.
So it's about finding that balance between stillness and movement, acceptance and surrender.
It's a delicate dance, and Rumi's poetry is a beautiful guide for that dance. He shows us that true love is about embracing the totality of who we are with all our imperfections and vulnerabilities.
It reminds me of that line where he urges us to sell our cleverness and buy bewilderment. I love that. It's like he's saying to let go of our need to control and understand everything.
It's a powerful reminder to embrace the mystery of life, the wonder and awe that lie beyond the grasp of our rational minds, to approach the world with a sense of childlike curiosity and openness.
You know, when I first started reading Rumi, it all felt so abstract, so out there. But now, as I'm learning more about Sufism, it's all starting to click.
I find that with Rumi, the more you sit with his words, the more they reveal themselves to you. It's a process of unfolding, of layers being peeled back.
And it's a process that requires patience, isn't it? We can't expect to grasp these deep spiritual truths overnight.
Absolutely. It takes time, dedication, and a willingness to be transformed.
This is all making me think about how Rumi emphasizes the importance of not just intellectual understanding, but also direct experience.
He's constantly reminding us to move beyond the limitations of our rational minds. And that's where those extra senses we talked about come. Intuition, empathy, a sense of wonder.
You know, I have to admit, I'm still a little skeptical about this whole extra senses thing. It sounds a bit extra.
I understand your skepticism. It's certainly a concept that challenges our conventional ways of thinking. But think of it this way. Have you ever had a gut feeling about something, an intuition that turned out to be right, or felt a deep sense of connection with someone you just met?
Yes, of course.
Those are glimpses of those extra senses at work. It's about tuning into those subtle whispers of the heart, that deeper level of knowing that transcends language and logic.
So it's about cultivating those ways of perceiving that go beyond the purely rational. But how do we do that? How do we develop those extra senses in our everyday lives?
It's a journey, and it looks different for everyone, but practices like meditation, spending time in nature, engaging in creative pursuits, anything that allows us to quiet the mind and connect with our hearts can help cultivate those senses.
So it's about creating space for those intuitive insights to emerge.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a sense of presence, of openness to the world around us and to the people in our lives.
This is all making me think about how I approach my own relationships. It's like Rumi is challenging us to love more deeply, more authentically,
Yeah,
even when it's difficult.
absolutely. And that's where the real work begins. Putting these ideas into practice in our daily lives. It's about bringing that same love and surrender to our interactions with our families, our friends, our partners, even those who challenge us.
So it's not just about having these lofty spiritual ideals, but actually embodying them in the messy, complicated reality of human relationships.
Rumi's teachings aren't meant to be kept in a box labeled spirituality. They're meant to be lived, to be woven into the fabric of our everyday lives.
You know, it strikes me that Rumi's message of unity and interconnectedness is so relevant today, in a world that feels increasingly divided.
It's true. And it's not just a feel-good sentiment. Rumi understood the power of diversity, the beauty of difference. He didn't advocate for a bland uniformity, but rather a tapestry woven from the threads of our unique experiences and perspectives.
So it's not about erasing our differences, but rather recognizing that spark of the divine in everyone we meet, despite those differences.
Exactly. And that's where compassion comes in. The ability to step outside our own limited perspectives and see the world through the eyes of another.
It's like Rumi is calling us to a more expansive, more inclusive way of being in the world, one that embraces both our own uniqueness and our interconnectedness with all beings.
Beautifully said. And that's the essence of Rumi's message, a message that is as relevant today as it was centuries ago.
I'm feeling so inspired right now, but also a little overwhelmed by the sheer depth and breadth of Rumi's wisdom.
I know what you mean. Even after years of studying his work, I still feel like I'm just scratching the surface.
I think we need to pause here for a moment and give our listeners a chance to process all of this. It's a lot to take in.
Yes, a moment of quiet reflection is in order. What's resonating with you right now? What questions are coming up? What's one small step you can take today to bring a little more of Rumi's radical love into your life?
Wow. I feel like we've been on such an incredible journey with Rumi today. It's amazing how his work can be both so ancient and so relevant to our lives right now.
I know, it's incredible. His poetry speaks to something timeless, something universal within the human experience.
Yeah, and I think for me what's really sticking with me is this idea of love as a transformative force. Not just the romantic hearts and flowers kind of love, but like something much bigger, much more profound.
Absolutely. And remember how we talked about the fierce side of love, That fire that burns away all the illusions and attachments that keep us separate.
Right. It's like Rumi is challenging us to go beyond our limited understanding of love.
Yeah.
It's not about clinging, possessing, or controlling.
Yeah.
It's about surrendering to something much greater than ourselves.
Yes, it's about recognizing that we're all connected, all part of that same divine source.
Mm.
And that recognition can be incredibly liberating.
It really can. And this makes me think about the law concept again. That idea of recognizing that there is nothing but God. It's such a radical idea, but it also feels so simple, so pure.
You're right, it is a powerful concept, and one that challenges many of our preconceived notions about the world. It's about letting go of the illusion of separation, the idea that we're all these isolated individuals striving for something on our own.
Yeah, instead we're part of this vast interconnected web of existence. It's a humbling thought, but also incredibly inspiring.
It really is. And when we start to embody that understanding of interconnectedness, it changes everything about how we see the world and how we interact with others.
And it makes me think about how Rumi emphasizes compassion as a key element of love. Not just feeling sorry for others, but like truly seeing them, understanding their struggles, and offering kindness and support.
Exactly. Compassion is the bridge that connects us to one another. It allows us to move beyond judgment and separation and experience that deep sense of unity that Rumi speaks about so eloquently.
So after this deep dive into Rumi, what stands out to you the most?
For me, it's the reminder that the spiritual journey isn't about escaping the world or denying our human experience. It's about embracing the totality of life, the joys and the sorrows, the light and the darkness, and finding the love that permeates it all.
It's about finding the divine within ourselves and within everyone we meet.
Yes. It's about cultivating those extra senses, intuition, empathy, a sense of wonder that allow us to perceive the world with greater clarity, depth, and compassion. It's about polishing the mirror of our hearts so that we can reflect that divine light more fully into the world.
This has been such a rich and rewarding conversation. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on Rumi's work.
Me too, and I hope our listeners feel the same.
So to you listening, we leave you with this question. What would it mean to embrace even a little bit of Rumi's radical love in your own life? What small step can you take today to move closer to that boundless ocean of love he describes so beautifully? Until next time, keep those hearts open and those minds bewildered.